Welcome. In this video, we're going to be analyzing the Black Obelisk, which refers to the Israelite king Jehu. The obelisk was found in the ancient city of Nimrod and was created by the Assyrian king Shalmaneser III. On the obelisk, Shalmaneser boasts about the conquest of 5 surrounding nations, all of whom must now bring him tribute. The first row of panels on the obelisk details the tribute paid by the nation of Gilzanu. The second row details the tribute paid by Israel, and this continues for the other 3 nations as well. If all of this sounds interesting to you so far, please make sure you hit that like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe. It really does help with the algorithm. Okay, let's now talk about the 4 sides of the Black Obelisk. And as I've just said, the first row of images are about the nation of Gilzanu, the next row is about Israel, and so on. Now, before we get into Israel, because that's the whole reason why we're here, let's first go through Gilzanu's images, just to give us some context. So each of these panels here details the tribute brought by the nation of Gilzanu to Assyria. The first panel has an image of Shalmaneser standing triumphantly before the king of Gilzanu, a man named Suah, who is kneeling before him. Written above the panel, we read in Akkadian, quote, "I received tribute from Suah the Gilzanite. I received from him silver, gold, lead, copper vessels, staves from the hand of the king, horses, 2-humped camels." The panels that follow now show this tribute brought from Suah, the 2-humped camels, the horses, and then finally the silver, gold, lead, and copper vessels. Now, let's now move on to the next row of panels, which is all about the tribute brought by Israel. And once again, the first panel displays Shalmaneser standing before the king of Israel, a man named Jehu, who is prostrating himself before the Assyrian king. Now, let's just take a moment to marvel at this image right here. As one author notes, the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III provides the earliest surviving representation of an Israelite, assumed to be either Jehu or one of his servants, kneeling before the king. Now, who exactly was Jehu? Well, Jehu was a usurper who overthrew the house of Omri. By killing Jehoram, the last Omride king, refer to my videos on the Tel Dan Stela for more about that. By killing him, Jehu creates his own dynasty in Israel, the house of Jehu, and he has 4 of his descendants sit upon the throne. Okay, with that quick summary on Jehu, let's now return to our first panel and read the inscription above it, which reads, quote, "I received tribute from Jehu, house of Omri." All right, let's just stop here for a moment. Hopefully you immediately recognize an error. Jehu was not from the house of Omri. He overthrew the house of Omri. Therefore, this is an error on the obelisk, but an understandable error, considering that the house of Omri had been reigning for a very long period of time in Israel, and perhaps the Assyrians were unaware that Jehu had recently usurped the throne. All right, let's now read the full quotation. It says, quote, "I received tribute from Jehu, house of Omri, silver, gold, a gold bowl, gold turn, gold vessels, gold pail, tin, the staff of the king's hand, and spears." The images that then follow show this tribute being brought to Shalmaneser, and scholars really highlight here that Israel is paying a significant amount of gold. Thus, the cost of Israel's tribute seems to be a lot more than the other nations on the obelisk. For one more comparison, let's review the tribute of the nation of Muzri, who give Assyria the following, quote, "I received tribute from Muzri, 2-humped camels, a water buffalo, a rhinoceros, an antelope, female elephants, female monkeys, and apes," end quote. So as you can see here, the tribute of Muzri is made primarily of animals. So comparing Israel's tribute to that of the other nations, it appears Israel is paying a lot more since they're giving primarily gold. Okay, there's another thing that makes Israel's tribute really fascinating, and it isn't just the size of it, but it's the fact that Israel's tribute isn't just recorded on the Black Obelisk. Jehu's tribute to Assyria is recorded on 3 other Assyrian monuments. So not just the Black Obelisk, but also the Kubali statue of Shalmaneser III, and also the marble annal tablets, and also the Kala bulls. Thus, we have 4 sources for Jehu's tribute to Assyria, which is amazing. Feel free to pause the video now to read each of these inscriptions for yourself. So, considering both the size of Jehu's tribute and the fact that it's found in multiple Assyrian sources, one would expect that it also be recorded in the Bible. but it is noticeably absent from the biblical text. Jehu's tribute to Assyria is not mentioned in the Bible, despite being present in all of these Assyrian artifacts. How on earth could this be the case? Highlighting this issue, one author writes the following, quote, "The timing, location, and size of Jehu's tribute also make it difficult to ignore. Assyrian sources highlight the significance of the incident by mentioning it 4 times on monuments, as well as representing it pictorially in a relief." He continues to write, "It is reasonable, therefore, to conclude that Jehu's tribute was greater than the tribute of other Israelite kings, since none of theirs were mentioned more than twice in extant Assyrian sources, and that it was greater than the other black obelisk tributes because of the quality and quantity of the items listed." End quote. So we are left with an obvious question. Why is Jehu's tribute omitted from the Bible? To answer this question, we need to get inside of the mind of the author of 1st and 2nd Kings, a man whom scholars refer to as the Deuteronomist. What were his motives? What did he believe? And why did he write? All of this will be explored in the Patron exclusive section of this video. So if that sounds fascinating to you, make sure you become a patron today. It is very cheap and you get so much great content, such as 40 videos of me going through Daniel 11 and 7 full videos of this series so far. Become a patron if you believe in the goal of this channel, which is create a library of videos that objectively and respectfully analyze the Bible. I truly hope we can build a real community of both believers and unbelievers passionate about learning about the Bible. All right, let's now move into the Patron exclusive section of this video. I hope you join me, but if you don't, thank you so much for watching this far into the video. Please make sure you hit that like button, leave me a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. For everyone else, stick with me. We're going to go through why is Jehu's tribute omitted from the Bible. Let's get inside the mind of the Deuteronomist. So, patrons, just to answer this question from the get-go, here is the answer. The Deuteronomist views Jehu as the only good king of Israel and therefore omits this negative aspect of his reign. Let's now break that down. We'll first begin by talking about a great piece of biblical trivia, and that is that Jehu is the only good king of Israel. What's the proof of this? Well, Jehu is anointed by a prophet, the prophet Elisha. He anoints him the king of Israel. And not only that, but Jehu killed Jezebel, Ahaziah, and Jehoram, and all of the descendants of Ahab, thus fulfilling a biblical prophecy. And not only that, Jehu rids Baal worship from the land of Israel. And for all of these great things, Jehu is given 4 generations after him to sit on the throne. The Deuteronomist, at the end of each king's reign, provides an assessment, a review of their reign. And in 2 Kings 10, this is what we read of Jehu. Thus Jehu wiped out Baal from Israel. He continues, "The Lord said to Jehu, because you have done well in carrying out what I consider right, and in accordance with all that was in my heart, have dealt with the house of Ahab, your sons of the 4th generation shall sit on the throne of Israel." End quote. So as you can see, this is the only positive assessment of any king of Israel. That's what makes Jehu the only good king of Israel. The fact that he's the only one that gets a positive assessment. Now, there is one negative part of this assessment. Here it is in verse 29. "But Jehu did not turn aside from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Israel to commit, the golden calves that were in Bethel and in Dan." So Jehu is not perfect. Every single king of Israel is going to follow in the steps of Jeroboam and worship at the golden calves at Bethel and Dan. But Jehu is the only king who does this and also does good things, who also gets a positive assessment, thus making him the only good king of Israel. As this book writes, the Dictionary of the Old Testament Historical Books, quote, "Of the northern kings, 16 are evaluated negatively, 2 receive no evaluation, Elah and Shalem, and only Jehu is evaluated positively." We continue to read. Whereas the books of Kings generally portrays northern rulers negatively, the portrayal of Jehu is unusually favorable, divinely elected, prophetically anointed, and righteously evaluated. In another book, Righteous Jehu and His Evil Heirs, we read the following. Jehu is the only northern king given a righteous evaluation of Deuteronomy. We continue to read in this work, if the Deuteronomist included Jehu's tribute it would have undermined his righteous evaluation of Jehu. These Assyrian tribute references suggest that Jehu relied on Shalmaneser III for assistance, a practice the book of Deuteronomy, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Hosea condemn. We continue to read in this work. The Deuteronomist himself states that he omits things about Jehu that are included in the book of the kings of Israel. It is therefore reasonable to assume that Jehu's tribute was present in the Deuteronomist's source, but was excluded by the Deuteronomist since it would have undermined his righteous evaluation of Jehu. Now, this work is referring to the Book of the Kings of Israel. This is a work that is mentioned often in 1st and 2nd Kings and is quite clearly the source that the Deuteronomist is using to create 1st and 2nd Kings. He's drawing upon this book to create his own books. So the reference in relation to Jehu is this: "Now the rest of the acts of Jehu, all that he did, and all his power, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel?" End quote. So that phrase right there is found for many kings of both Israel and Judah. There's also a book of the kings of Judah as well. And it's quite clear that the Deuteronomist is using these as sources to construct his own work. Now, the book of the kings of Israel is quite clearly just a historical overview of what's happening, something like a court record of what was happening. The Deuteronomist, in writing 1st and 2nd Kings, is doing something different to what the book of the kings of Israel is doing. So this is how I would explain it. The Deuteronomist is creating theology and history. He's providing assessments of kings. He's not doing impartial history here, where the book of the kings of Israel is most likely just an impartial history. Now, that's a bit of speculation here. We don't have the book of the kings of Israel or Judah, so therefore we're assuming that it's just an impartial court record. But that's most likely what's happening. The Deuteronomist, in creating 1st and 2nd Kings, is combining both theology and history and trying to explain why Israel is going through what it's going through. He's providing that moral perspective. The reason why we're going through such pain, the reason why we're about to go into exile, is because we've had so many bad kings. That's what he's trying to do. The Deuteronomist sees his job as separating the good kings from the bad kings. So who are the good kings and who are the bad kings? Well, the good kings of Judah and Israel are Hezekiah, Josiah, and Jehu. Now, Hezekiah and Josiah are your truly best kings because both of these people reserve exclusive worship of Yahweh to the temple, and they get rid of all of paganism from the land. Jehu, being in the north, obviously didn't have the option of centralizing worship in Jerusalem because he's in the north. He doesn't have access to Jerusalem, but he still banishes paganism, Baal, from the land. The evil kings of Judah and Israel are those who do the opposite. So Manasseh brings in all of this pagan worship into the temple, and Ahab also brings in all this paganism by marrying Jezebel and bringing in Baal worship into the land as well. So there's a kind of breakdown as to what the Deuteronomist is doing. Now, in future videos that will be exclusive to patrons, we're going to talk more about this Deuteronomist and how we refer to him as the D source. And we're going to be talking about how all of this ties into the JEDP theory. And just so you can really visualize this, J, E, and P are from Genesis through Numbers, when Deuteronomy is solely written by the D source. And not only that, but Deuteronomy then extends all the way to 2nd Kings. This is what we refer to as the Deuteronomistic history. And we're going to be talking more about that and what's motivating the Deuteronomist to do this. But I feel that this video has gone on long enough and I've probably given you too much information. Can I again just thank you so much for being patrons and allowing me to do this? You truly keep the lights on. Without my patrons, I can honestly say I would have stopped a long time ago. So thank you for your ongoing support. It means the world. Sometimes I want to give you so much more, and I'm thinking about adding something else, something I could give you more that you'll keep being patrons and you'll keep enjoying the content. If there's something you can think of, please let me know. But there's something that I have in mind that I've been cooking up, and I'll be letting you know that soon, I hope. All right, thank you for watching until the end. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.